Hey y'all.
Hey y'all.
I got a little something you got a little something to just sprinkle about something that just happened. Okay, so y'all know like when you're a kid growing up, like, I'll say 90s baby. I don't know about these 2000 babies. I ain't gonna act like that towards y'all. But you playing outside, you get a mark on you. I'm pretty sure of all of us have. Did you get this mark from when you was a child?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So certain scars that are on us from living our best childhood life, but it left a scar, it left a mark. So it was kind of like on my heart to talk about what do you do whenever the things that harmed you leave a scar that reminds you of what happened?
Hmm.
Does it leave you bitter? Does it leave you, for sure and certain that, every time you see that scar, you you're able to reflect and be grateful for the experience that you have in it,
Hmm.
because I feel like a lot of times for me, I feel like that's when I've reached the level of like healing and being like secure and confident in like what I went through. But it's
Hmm.
a lot of things I feel like in life that we go through that leaves an emotional scar that we're reminded of every time we're triggered of certain things. I feel like that word trigger and you know traumatic experiences is being brought up more. It's more of like a relevant topic to the point to where it's like, okay, like I'm triggered by this because of the scar that life left. So whenever life leaves certain scars on you, how do you deal with that? How do
Hmm.
you navigate through that? How do you know, that one the direction and the steps to go to heal from to heal from that.
Hmm.
Like a lot of times people are confused, like because I'm healed from something doesn't mean that what I'm healed from didn't leave baggage.
Hmm.
Like it didn't leave a scar. And
Hmm.
I feel like the greatest reminder for me is just like us having three children. All three of those children were delivered via C-section.
Mm.
I'm left with a scar,
Well.
every time that I'm, left alone, to look at myself, every time that I go to the restroom, I'm reminded of that scar. You get what I'm saying? I don't look at my children and be like, dang, like you're scar number one, scar number two, and scar number three. Like I don't look at my kids like that way. However, when I am, alone with myself and so happen to touch the scar, I'm like, wow, like I literally will have this on me forever to remind me of what I went through.
Hmm.
But it's not in a way to where it's just like, ugh.
It
But
makes you
at
better.
one point, it was like, God, like, why? Like,
Hmm.
why did I have to have three C-sections
Hmm.
in order to bring life to my children? Like, why do I have to be, thank you, why do I have to be reminded of this? Why do I have to like have this on my body in order to remember it? And the Holy Spirit basically was just like, there's, your whole life has been that.
Hmm. This
You
ain't
just
nothing
don't,
new.
it's nothing new. You just don't see the scar. You have no physical scar of that.
Hmm.
But spiritually, you have so many scars that I've healed, in you,
Hmm.
that there's triggers now that happens, or certain situations that you go through and that you experience that reminds you of that scar. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's something that is not really talked about. The saying, oh, you heal, I mean, I forgive you, but I'll never forget.
Hmm.
That scenario where you say I'll never forget is like, I'll never forget because you left that scar on my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
the
how do
truth.
you navigate that? How do you feel like is the best way to navigate, or even to know that what you've been through that scarred you is still hurting you?
Hmm.
You like, in a sense of just like, to give like a visual of it, it's just like you getting cut very, very deeply and you see that scar healing, but you're still doing stuff that the doctor told you not to do. So now it's infected and it can't properly heal because you're
Hmm.
not doing what you're supposed to do in order to make sure that that scar heals properly. Yeah, you'll still have a mark there, but if you don't do what you need to do, if you don't take care of it properly, then it's just going to leave a scar that is more like visible,
Hmm.
is deeper than what it needed to be, or is showing more than it needed to be because you didn't properly take care of it.
Yeah, I think the best way, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
to go about that is just to learn to come to the awareness that forgiveness is ultimately for your benefit. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So whatever it is that you go through in your life that does create scars or leave scars, um, it is in your best interest to forgive, and it's also in your best interest to take the proper measures to learn to forgive,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't, then that scar isn't just going to be a scar, but it's going to be a scar that irritates you, right? It's going to be a scar that gets opened up at any point whenever you do a certain act, right? Or whenever you perform a certain function, right? Those scars will open up,
Yeah.
So I think in life, we ultimately have to learn how to deal with the challenges, the abuse, the neglect, the heartbreak, the pain. Like, we have to learn how to deal with all of that stuff because it's inevitable. You know what I mean? And the more you allow those things to influence who you are as a person and not learn how to properly manage the emotions that come from those things, um, that can be detrimental to your growth as a person.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And there's so many people, you walk around in the world and you see there's so many people that are literally like zombies. You know what I mean? They're dead inside, right? Spiritually, they're dead. They're still
Mhm.
alive physically, but spiritually, they're dead because they've had so much pain, they've had so much heartbreak, and they haven't processed that, and they haven't properly forgiven people, or even forgiven themselves. I think the biggest thing is forgiving yourself, right, from things that you did in your past,
Yeah.
that may be haunting you, right? The apostle Paul says, you forget those things that are behind, right, and press on to the things that are ahead, right? We have to forget the former things, right? The way that we used to live, the things that we used to do, the people that we hurt, the people that we stole from, or did whatever we did. We have to learn to forgive ourselves, most importantly, and also learning how to forgive others. And it is a process. You know what I mean? Forgiveness isn't easy. You have to have a willingness in your heart to accept what was done and learn how to use what was done, or use the pain, the heartbreak, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Learn how to use that as fuel to make you better, right? And not fuel to make you bitter. But it's ultimately a decision, right? If you decide to do that, you will do that. If you decide not to, then you won't. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And nothing's more powerful than a made up mind. So ultimately, it's up to the individual if they want to heal, if they want to grow, and if they don't, because they're too fearful of what they went through and revisiting that so that they can heal from it. I mean, then that's all they get. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's my perspective.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of times, like that's a good point, Tori, you're saying you have to like kill and work on yourself, because a lot of times it's just like you know your limit and you know what you're able to take and what you're not able to take.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time when you're hurt, like if say for instance, like you got into a very bad car accident from someone running a red light. For me, it wasn't a really bad car accident, but I remember when I first got my first car, royalty, a white 2015 Cruise. First car that I worked hard to get for myself. And I remember tag still fresh on there. Haven't even got my official tag on there. And I end up getting into an accident on 420, 2016. Like,
Mm.
I still had my tag on. I had not had my car for a month. And someone ran a red light. And instead, what was turning, instead of speeding up to catch the light, they crashed. Like they stopped on their brakes and I ran straight onto the side of their car. Much damage didn't get done to my car, but I'm now, because that happened, I'm now very cautious of whenever I'm going through a light and if someone's turning, like the light has just turned red, I hesitate a little, just a little, every single time to make
Mm.
sure that there's no cars turning, because that's trauma.
Mm.
That's something traumatic that happened to me. And at the time, I had a friend in the car with me that was 8 months pregnant. Like,
Wow.
it was a lot. And what's even crazier about it, and I'm just like, it's so phenomenal how life works, is because it happened right in front of my job right now. It
Mm.
happens on John's. I'm not gonna say it, just in case, but it happened right at that exit, like right at that light at the Aldi. I remember pulling inside of that Aldi, the parking lot, to do like the paperwork and police report and everything like that with the officer.
Wow.
All of that happened there, and who would have knew that 10 years
Five,
later,
yeah, 10,
yeah,
5,
no,
5, 10 years later, you'll be working there.
I will be working there, and I'm reminded every single time, like if I go to McDonald's or I grab something to eat, down that way and I have to turn, I'm always reminded of like, why would you knew that the light was yellow and it was turning red. Why would you stop? Why wouldn't you keep going?
Hmm.
Like what? That's dumb. That's like driver's basics. If you're running a light, baby, run the light.
Yeah,
Why would you
yeah,
stop?
don't halfway
But
run it.
you freaked out because you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing in the first place.
Mm.
So it's just like just as simple as that you're reminded of, and I know it's like because that happened to me, I know that I have to not drive for myself, but drive for other people that are on the road that like maybe having something else going on that obviously I don't know,
Mm.
but it makes me take precaution before just immediately stumping on the gas
Yeah,
whenever the light turns red.
that's a word right there. I'm about to take it there, y'all.
Take it.
Let me preach to you.
Go ahead.
She said, not only do you have to drive for yourself, but you have to drive for others.
Mhm.
Right? So, such is life. Not only do we have to live for ourselves, but we have to live for others. Right? Everything that we do and everything
Uh-oh.
that we learn and everything that we partake in as individuals, it doesn't just affect us, right? It affects everybody else. I'll give a good example. If you have a parent that makes bad decisions, right, and that parent grows older and that parent starts to have illnesses, right, physical ailments because they didn't take care of their health. Now that falls on you as the child, right,
Mhm.
having to be responsible for that parent and take care of that parent because of their bad decisions. You know what I mean? And I just use that as an example. But such as life, right? Every decision that you make doesn't just affect you, right?
Mhm.
And going back to our topic, right? The decision not to forgive or the decision to hold on to your trauma and allow that to play on in your life over and over and over again, and you react to certain situations as opposed to responding properly and responding accordingly, that doesn't just affect you. It affects the people around you. It affects your children. It affects your associates while you're at work. It affects everybody, right? Because people are not only looking at what you do, people are looking at how you do it,
Right.
right? So it's not just about you. It's so much bigger than you.
So just like picking up on what you said when it comes to that, I feel like for me now, I actually do have that in my head every single time that I'm doing something that whatever I do affects our family.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like when I'm out with friends and I see certain people like get off the yak and they just angry and they just mad and they just, moving how they moving. I literally was just talking to, I forgot who I was talking to. I think I was talking to Cora, my best friend, my childhood best friend. I was talking to her and I was just telling her, I was like, it's certain things and certain people that I don't hang out with or associate myself with. Oh, Brianna, the one that did my hair, y'all. Yeah, y'all like my hair?
Y'all see my wife here? Y'all see how she looking out
Yeah,
here?
she ate my hair up.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna drop it somewhere. But I was just talking to her. I was just telling her, I was like, you don't necessarily see me going out no more like that. Or she was just like, I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you. I'm like, yeah. Like most of the time when I go out now, it's very private. Like that's just time that I dedicate to like be with my friends or to just be amongst myself. But I don't hang out with certain parties. I don't hang out with certain people because I realize that you don't have anything to lose. I have a lot to
That
lose.
part. That's
I, I
dangerous.
can't I can't react out of anger. I can't act out of frustrations because one, I don't know who I'm reacting to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know who you speaking to sometimes whenever you act a certain way. People try to take away the fact that there are some powerful people in this world and they could make your life so much more difficult. But because you reacted a certain way out of them, now you're put in a situation that you didn't necessarily have to be put in.
Mm.
But because you can't hold your tongue and hear your spirit when they tell you, like, now is not the time for that. Now you're put in a situation to where it's going to affect not only you, but affecting the people that are surrounded by you. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, it was as simple as me giving her the scenario. Like, if I go out and because I love my family, I love the people that I'm surrounded with. They get into an altercation with somebody else over the simple fact you looking at me crazy or you accidentally bumped into me, and because you having a time you didn't say excuse me, but I'm feeling some type of way already because you got the yak in you and you just feeling extra aggressive. Okay, now you deciding to step up and go say something to this girl. She getting offended. Now y'all fighting. I'm put in a situation to between where I gotta pull you away or I gotta fight for you. You're putting me in an uncomfortable situation. You're putting
Uh-huh.
me in a comfortable situation to where it's just like, no, I'm snitching on all y'all officers. She hit her first. She hit her first.
I'm
This
telling.
is her name. This is where she stayed because I'm not in a place to where I'm protecting anybody but myself and but those who are connected to me
Uh-huh.
because I have a lot to, I have something to lose, and I have a family that depends on me. So I'm not in a situation. I'm not in the, headspace anymore to where it's just like if I go out and I get into a fight, that's it. I'm locked up, and whoever bail me out, bail me out. I'm not in that situation.
That's called maturity.
I get locked up, and my husband has to come bail me out. That's money that's coming out of our household that we're not going to be able to do certain things with because I decided to be selfish and I couldn't handle myself in a way to where I wouldn't even be put in that situation, you know? And that just goes back to such as life. There's certain things that happen. There's certain things that God allows you to see in your life to where it's just like it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things I don't even react to. And I learned that God has literally just done a work on me to where I'm able to act more calmly.
Uh-huh.
Like certain situations, certain things that people do, I'm just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's not worth it because I know myself. If I get myself amped up, if I get myself worked up, it's done. It's done. And God's like, you have to know yourself. Like, you have to learn from the scars that I've allowed you to go through.
There we go.
And that'll go over your head, but that will save that for another topic. You got something else to say, babe?
Listen, I just want to say that I'm proud of my wife and
I'm proud of you, baby.
you know, who she's grown to be. Still growing, but who she's grown to be. Despite everything she's been through, you would never know, right? If you met her and you built a relationship with her, you would never know she had been through what she's been through because of her heart, right? And how she carries herself and how she treats people. So I'm proud of you, sweetheart. I
Thank
just
you,
thought y'all
baby.
should know how amazing she is. I know how amazing she is, but y'all don't know. She's special. And she's not just what y'all see on camera. Like, so it's so much bigger than that. So
I'm myself on camera and off of camera.
yeah, that part.
I'm not faking the funk for nobody. You
That
gonna get
part.
what you get. But I do try to give my best self. So
Listen, we love y'all.
yeah.
We appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe,
Turn on post notifications
share.
so you can be notified every single time we post. And please follow us on our social media. Matter of fact, we're gonna post a poll. We're gonna post a poll asking you guys some questions. Just, see what y'all want us to talk about if y'all got certain questions and stuff like that, because sometimes y'all don't be utilizing that comment box because once you comment, it's just there for everybody to see. So on our Instagram, it's more intimate when we ask the questions or we do the polls and stuff like that. It allows you to have that privacy. We don't necessarily say the name whenever we're reading the question, so we'll do that.
Instagram at SM0OV underscore. That's at smooth SM0OV underscore.
On Instagram, Queen Deja, Queen QUEEN underscore DAJAJ, and on TikTok, Life with Deja.
That part. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Let love fill your hearts, family.
Peace and blessings. Bye.